Hello, and welcome to the Lyman Lipke Guitarcast. I am your humble host, Lyman Lipke. Housekeeping? Do all the things. Subscribe, follow on Spotify, like the video, leave a review, leave a comment, all those good things. I am available for one-on-one lessons if you are interested. And in the last episode, I left a little code somewhere in the middle for a free half-hour lesson. So if you haven't heard that yet, go listen to it. There's still a bunch of slots available, and I'll leave that code active for a couple weeks. But that's going to be a new thing. Every so often, I'm going to drop a code for some free lessons. I mean, it feels like a cool thing to do, and it might increase listenership of this podcast, which is a goal of mine, because I like doing this thing. Just a couple things I wanted to talk about today. I was recently reminded of something. that concert story / post is going around on Instagram and Facebook about, like, you know, the best concert you've seen, the worst sounding venue you've been to. And a friend of mine, a Facebook friend of mine, posted a one of those, and the concert he almost got in a fight in was a Buckethead concert where some dude grabbed his behind, which reminded me that my pops almost got into a fight at a Buckethead concert. And this dude, like, knows my pops. Like, they used to work together. So it's kind of funny that happened. I was there at the Buckethead concert. He had a band with him too, which was cool. That one guy, Mike Silverman, was playing quote unquote bass on his magic pipe, which was super cool to see. And a guy by the name of Pinchface was playing drums. And in the middle of the show, he came up to the mic and called for Maximum Bob, which I believe was the lead singer of the Deli Creeps or something, a band that they had. And some dude right next to us just starts yelling, F you, Pinchface, but, he said the expletive. And I was 14 at the time, so I had heard expletives. My brother was 9. He had heard expletives. But you know how grown-ups feel when folks use bad words around their kids. So my dad turns around and just grabs this dude by the collar and tells him to knock it off. My dad's a pretty big dude, like 6'3", was in pretty good shape at the time. And then just pushes him back, and the dude, like, this was a young dude, like, his probably early mid-20s. So, he calms down for the rest of the show, except for the very end, like before the encore. He starts yelling expletives again, and my dad just gets up and just pushes him. And then this guy who had nothing to do with it, who looks a lot like I do now. So this is maybe where else I stole my look from. Just comes up to us and he says, "You want violence? You want violence?" And then security kicked us all out. So that's a meme in my family, in my friend circle. You want violence? So that's a fond memory for me. I don't know if, like, that's a good thing. That's a fond memory, but it is. Uh, I've got the 7-string nameless guitar with me today. I replaced the pickup again. I wound a new pickup. Tried to make it kind of like a PAF. And I've got coil split. So I've got the single coil sound. As well as humbucker. And what's interesting is I've got this single coil going. Which allows me to get that 5th fret harmonic a little bit clearer. Because I've discovered that in single coils and the north, this coil on humbuckers is right where the 5th fret harmonic lives. So that's a node that it's hard to pick up those harmonics with a coil right here. So I can pick up the vibration is a little bit wider right here. This is the smallest point of vibration for that harmonic. And it also has another node right here and right here. At the quarter length of the string. So here to nut 1/4 of the string. 5th fret to the 12th fret, 1/4 to the string, 1/4 length of the string. And then 12th fret to pickup coil, 1/4 of the string. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, am I stupid? No, I don't think so. Yeah, it's 1/4 length of the string. So that is gonna have an effect on the tone. Especially in single coil mode. So these are the kinds of experiments that I'm looking forward to doing with this whole pickup exploration. I've got more parts coming in the mail, so and this whole pickup making thing and making pickups to share with followers and whoever wants a set of pickups. I made 9 Telecaster pickup sets, and I wasn't thinking about certain things that I would need, like screws and wire. I ran out of lead wire and screws, so got some wire coming, and I'll be able to finish those pickups up, and they will be for sale as soon as I finish them up. Set of Telecaster pickups will be $50, which I don't know if you can buy hand wound pickups for $50 anywhere, like a set of them. And similar spec to what I've got in Butters. So if you've heard Butters the last few podcasts and you like the sound of that, you'll get something similar. But about a week ago, I received a comment that I wanted to address, because the point that the commenter made was actually a pretty good point. He's just a joy cough. He's like 95% of music teachers who miss the entire point about playing music. What about playing on a single chord? How about playing in time? Making sure your beat divisions work accurately. because you can't play any music if you can't do either of those things. That's absolutely correct. Like, those are, like, there are so many important aspects about playing music that aren't often discussed, especially, like, on social media. Like, a video about having good time isn't going to do as well as a video on how to add the extra spicy notes into your improvisations. What makes that work is good time, good swing articulation, and good dynamics. All of that stuff is very, very important. And it's almost like, before you take any of my harmonic, melodic, and theoretical advice, like, that's a prerequisite. However, it's a prerequisite that not so many people really take seriously. So, let's talk about some of those simple things that are not often thought about, but very, very important. So, good time, good articulation. Making sure the dynamics are even. Note length. How many of you think about how long your notes are? When your notes start is an important part of time and time feel. But when your notes stop is just as important. So that's exactly half of the length of the time. That's giving the note its full value and then playing. Essentially, if I was to notate it out, it would be a quarter note, an eighth note, and an eighth rest. And I'm not sure about this, but I heard it somewhere. One of my teachers or mentors said this to me. Like, if there's a staccato note, you can give that note, like, if there's a staccato marking, which is like a dot above or below the note head, you can treat that as half of the value. It was either a staccato or like a marcato. I can't remember. I think that's just for ease of notation. But I mean, first things first. Can you give the note its entire value? So no space between one note and the next note. And also no overlap. Like overlap right there. So that's coordination, like between the left and the right hand. When I strike this note, I am releasing on the left hand. I'm trying to do it at the exact proper time. And favorite segment, I got in an argument about bass lines, and the notes should be long. Like, we listen to any recording with a modern microphone that has walking bass on it. Those notes are going to be long 90% of the time or more. That feels wonky and weird, and isn't exactly correct to the jazz idiom. And this guy was upset because the notes don't have to be long. I don't want you giving people. I cannot have you giving people an incorrect picture of jazz. Well, first off, you can't. No, son. Like, who are you? You've got a private profile, no credentials. So, I mean, as far as I know, you could be Christian McBride, but it is far more likely that you are Joey Gabagool. Make sandwiches. I mean, just listen to the recordings. If you hear short notes in an old recording, it could have anything to do with the microphone technology. They could be using gut strings, which had, a lot quicker of a decay. And I watched a Ray Brown video. It said the advent of steel strings. They left their fingers down, and you pluck the note, and the tone would last a long time. And so that was sort of the idiom. And I said, I responded to this guy again. Mistake number one. It is, even if, like, I should not give people like this the light of day. Like, don't even humor them. So that gives their argument a little bit of credibility. But I said it's easier to shorten the length of a note than it is to add length to a note if your default is not connected notes. And he said, that makes no sense. It's just as easy to add length than it is to take length away. This is anecdotal evidence. However, like, if a student plays their notes like that, there's just a little bit of space at the end, and it's not exactly in, like, any sort of time like system. Like, it's just willy-nilly, like they accidentally mute something. It has been far more difficult for me to get those students to, or for those students to give that note the full value than it is to have those students play a shortened note. Like, it's just purely physical. Like, I can get them to play that, cut the note off exactly at the halfway point. But getting them to push it right to the end, that is something completely different. So the length of your notes is important. Can you give the note its full value, and can you control where you cut the note off? It's something that I felt very fortunate about playing with, in a big band and playing bass in a big band. The horns are supposed to cut off together. Like, if you got a trumpet section, they hit this big long note and they all end at different times. Like, that's going to sound weird and wonky. Their notes are supposed to end at exactly the same time. And when we played a cut called 2 Seconds to Midnight by Alan Baylock. Baylock? I can't remember. He was or is the 1 O'Clock band director at University of North Texas. But there were a lot of phrases on the bass that went with what the horns were playing. But And we played that at a clinic. Um, the clinician like pointed me out and said, "You've got like." He started talking about the note cutoffs. It's like, listen to Lyman. Lyman's got it. That was not even something I ever thought about. It was I guess it was just innate, or I like to say I got lucky. Um, but I've been getting consistently lucky with my musical decisions. So, at what point is it luck? It's always luck. I'm just gonna default to that. And so from there, I really started paying attention to note lengths. That can make all the difference in the world on playing a figure. Sounds different from. And do you have control over that? That's important. Do you have good time feel? Do you put are the notes starting when they're supposed to start? Are you playing your notes? Do you have the ability to play all of your notes evenly? None louder or softer, or articulated weirdly. Like one pick stroke per string. Can you get those even? And if you can, if that's like how you pick, do you have control, the ability to articulate all of those notes? You can do it with the fingers. Also, somebody left me a comment, said they use 3 fingers to pick, so they can't like the hybrid picking video I posted. Like if you pick, in this manner, still have these 3 fingers available. And we said I pick with 3 fingers, so nah, not really. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, you didn't have to word it like that. But he picks with 3 fingers, which I think Pat Metheny does as well. But the dude actually like shreds. Like, I was quite impressed. Also, update to Dunning-Kruger Oliver saga. I saw a video that he posted. It says, "Why is it so hard for me to find other musicians to play with? 1, it's your attitude. Like, I've seen the way you write and how you post things. I've seen how you think about things. Like, that attitude is not doing you any favors whatsoever." We're getting sidetracked, as always. Tangent time. I worked with this drummer / engineer who was a very solid engineer. Like, knew all of the science with speakers, frequency, decibels, SPL. All this stuff I have no idea about, and so very knowledgeable, pretty good at the drums. He could not understand why this other band in the area was getting work every weekend, and he was just like bad mouthing them, talking crap, like these guys suck. How do they get a gig? He engineered like one of their gigs, and like he uses this word. I was really arrogant to him. He said that for said band, and he could not understand. And I said this to him. Like, they are very, very nice guys. They are lovely people. And he said shit in, shit out. Like, if your input is bad, like, your output's gonna be bad. I mean, like, for, you know, music, that's true. How do you get a gig in music? Well, one, you should be relatively competent at what you do. Like, if you're a cover band, you should be able to reproduce those covers in a manner that's convincing, or a manner that, you know, folks are gonna like. Here's an unpopular opinion amongst guitar players, I'm sure. The layperson doesn't care about your guitar tone. The only people who care about guitar tone are guitar players. I mean, and maybe bass players, drummers, but most other musicians, as long as the guitar sound isn't offensive, like there aren't frequencies that are piercing or getting in the way of other frequencies, like, it's fine. The guitar tone is a guitar player thing. And I love tone, man. I love exploring things. I'm making my own pickups, trying to search for my sound. But I'm fully aware, like, this is, you know, a personal journey for me. When my sound is good, like, I'm happy. Like, I play better when I have a good sound. And it makes me want to play the instrument more. It can lead me in other directions. But the layperson, like, absolutely does not care about your guitar tone. Unless it's offensive. Like, it hurts their ears. But they care more about things like, are you in tune? Like, and you can be a little bit out of tune for the layperson. They probably won't notice anything. If you're playing your guitar and you're really out of tune, like, they're gonna notice and think it sounds bad. So the layperson, like, you can get away with a lot of stuff. Not playing things exactly correctly, making some mistakes. But, like, certain things, like, lay people will say, like, that sounds wrong. Like, I played, and even other musicians are guilty of this sometimes too. Like, I played that, something, which is the intro to Treasure by Bruno Mars. And this young guitar player kid says, that sounds off. Like, that's wrong. You're playing something wrong. And I absolutely was not playing something wrong. I was playing on a semi-hollow body neck pickup, tone knob rolled down a little bit, which sounds very different than that Strat tone that the record starts with. The notes were correct. I was playing the correct notes. Almost positive. And he said something to the effect of, whether you like it or not, it sounds wrong. Which is, you know, true. Like, it doesn't sound like the record, but the notes are correct. He was looking for something. He's like, you're missing something higher. Yeah, I'm missing something higher. A lot of high frequency information. But the fundamental pitches were there. And so, like, to a larger extent, like, that's something the layperson can hear. If you're missing, like, some, if you're trying to reproduce a tone, that's when a layperson can sort of understand what like, that something's not right. If, like, it's just wildly off, like you're missing, like, you're trying to play a Strat bridge sound on the neck pickup of a humbucker. Like, a layperson might think that you're playing wrong notes because you're missing a lot of certain frequency ranges in the harmonics. The notes aren't wrong. It's just the sound is a little bit wrong. Your own original music, like your guitar tone, as long as it's not offensive and it fits, it's good. Let's go back. This dude could not understand why this band was getting gigs. And I had subbed for said band. And I always liked playing with them because they were such sweet people. It was country music, just straight country music. I've subbed for them a few times on guitar. And they got most of it correct. They got the big parts of the songs right. The vocal melodies and the chords. And folks in that area just loved them. And they were very, very, very professional. Sweet people, great people to work with, always got paid on time. That is far more valuable than knowing your entire fretboard on the guitar, if you want to work. However, this also gets into something else, like the attitude that close enough is good enough. If that's working for you, that's fine. Well, I'm okay with that. However, if you are my student and you ever use the words close enough to me, then we will have a conversation. Close enough for what? Close enough for what I'm asking you to do? Because close enough is not close enough. I want you to do the thing that I'm asking you to do. And that's I mean, my students, like, very rarely would any of them ever say, "Oh, that's close enough." I'm always, and I try to be relatively gentle with my students. But other musicians that I'm working with, if I'm running the show, which I don't like to do all that often, I don't like to be in a position of leadership. I just like showing up, being a hired gun, doing my thing, going home. But if I'm running the show and I ask for something, like this drummer, you'd say, "Oh, that's close enough." I would say, "I would like you to do it this way," or "I would like it to sound more like this." And here's the example that I'm thinking of. Dude was rushing like crazy. It's like, "Oh, it's close enough." I'm like, "No, I really would like you to play your fills in time and not rush it." And he said, "Why?" And the only reason, like, this is like a really good reason that actually matters, is what I said to him. "Because I'm asking you to." If you're in a position of leadership and you know what you want, that is a good enough reason. And so it's like, all right, we do it again. He does the same thing. Like he didn't listen to a word that I was saying. And he said, "Now you're just getting mean." And we had a conversation because I texted him and said, like, if you need to ask me something in the nature that you're asking me, like, leave it in the band group chat. And so he called me to his house like an hour before rehearsal and just ripped into me, like saying that I needed to be nicer to him. And I was really, really taken aback. I said, okay, that's fine. However, this isn't going to work unless I can be straightforward with you about the musical aspect of this project. And he said, yeah, of course, it's fine. And so this incident with the rushing was the very first time that I had to be real straightforward with him. Like, no, you are rushing. And I said, like, man, like, find a different ride home tonight. Like, this isn't gonna work. And he blew up. He freaking like lost it on me. And I'm like, okay, this is the last gig we ever played together. This dude, just wackadoodle. And I left a bunch of stuff at his house, like a bunch of my recording equipment. Thankfully, like, I kept my composure because we had a rehearsal planned for the next night for another band, and I snuck in to his garage before the rehearsal started and stole back all of my stuff. I didn't steal. I just I took my stuff out of his garage, got it in my car. And he comes out and says, "Oh, you're early." And I'm like, "Yeah, I'm not going to be working with you anymore. Your services are no longer required." And I'll never forget what he said to me. "You're going to find out how hard it is to do music up here." Which is wild. Because as soon as I stopped working with that guy, started working with all these other wonderful people, I got way more work than I ever did with that guy. So, you're never going to listen to this. But if you do, I don't like you. I think you need to go to therapy. That's why your wife left you. Yeah, dude was a major league dingus. And you know, tried to get in contact with me a couple times, but I would block him every single time. Yeah, don't be hard to work with. Like, that is like skill number 1. Like, that's the real musical skill. Like, don't be hard to work with. Be a pleasant guy to be around. And I wasn't always that guy. Like, I could be difficult. It could be especially difficult when leading a project. And at that point in my life, this was like 7 years ago, I had done a lot of, work on myself, and I thought I had gotten into, a much better place. A leadership role, like not laying the hammer down for no reason. And this dude knew that and like tried to use that against me. So you're a very difficult guy to work for. But there's always places you can improve upon. This one went off the rails real quick. I've got a lesson to do in 4 minutes. So we're gonna wrap things up here, but I think that's the direction of the Monday solo casts for a few weeks. Like talking about just basic music stuff. If we really only got one today, your note lengths and your note endings. Like if you can control that, like single notes and chords. This sounds different. All those sound different and are applicable in different spots. Like little things like that make all the difference in being a well-rounded musician. But the most important thing is don't be a dick. Don't do that. It's playing working musician on hard mode, extra hard difficulty. Like there's a line. Like amount of talent and amount of jerk you can be. And if you are below the line, it's like a Mendoza line, then you're gonna have a bad time. Really, like ease of working with, like harder to work with, easier to work with, talent. You should be like right here. But if you are this talented, you could be right here. Actually, the line's more like curved. I don't know, man. I take work these days based solely or mostly on how easy the folks are to work with. How nice the guys they are, how professional they are, if I get paid on time, if they give me the proper information. If you have that and you're a band leader, you will never hurt for musicians to play with. Simple as that. All right. This was a show. Thanks for being here. Now leave.